I'm going to draw a bit of a comparison today between me and an American divorce lawyer. Run the intro. So obviously, McKenzie Picave, we operate in the UK family court, in the England and Wales only. We don't operate in Scotland. And obviously I have an approach. But I stumbled across this guy a while ago. And I'm just going to run his bit of footage about how he's talking about who he likes to represent in divorce proceedings. Just listen to this guy.
I prefer to represent the bad guy or a bad woman because it's lower stakes. I represent victims of domestic violence. I represent perpetrators of domestic violence. And I would rather represent the villain for two reasons. One is tactical. The bank robber always has a tactical advantage over the cops because they can shoot innocent bystanders. Like the person who doesn't care about the kids has a significant tactical advantage in divorce litigation. So you have a bigger palette to choose from. The other is, it is very frightening as an advocate to know that the only thing standing between justice and your client is the argument you're going to make on their behalf.
High pressure.
So if I'm representing an unbelievable piece of and I do a really good job as an advocate, and I obfuscate the facts, and I misdirect, and I'm successful in my argument, I did my job. The system failed, but it wasn't my fault.
Wow. I accept the fact that lawyers, attorneys, solicitors, barristers, counsel, whatever you want to call them, whichever phrase, whichever title you want to tag on, have a job to do. And I accept the fact that in family court, and let's limit our conversation to family court. In family court, we as legal advocates, and let's lump us all together under that title, we as legal advocates are sometimes going to represent somebody who's not very nice. Here at McKenzie Picave, we have in the past represented people who we don't necessarily like. We don't necessarily agree with their actions or what they've done, but they're entitled to be guided in terms of the court process, and they're entitled to that. As I say, I don't agree with them, but they're entitled to it. But thankfully, as time's gone on, and we've become over the years more choosy in terms of who we look after and who we support in the family law system. We tend to now have moved away from perpetrators. The guy we were looking at on the screen there said he wants to represent the perpetrator. He wants to represent the perpetrator of domestic violence rather than the victim. We are on the other side of that fence. I would rather fight for justice on behalf of the victim, be that victim a man or a woman. And I would rather fight for the underdog in divorce proceedings than fight for the party who is potentially already on top as a result of where the circumstances are lying. So let's just find him again, because I'm just going to run this bit right again at the start. Just listen to this again.
I prefer to represent the bad guy or a bad woman because it's lower stakes. I represent victims of domestic violence. I represent perpetrators of domestic violence. And I would rather represent the villain.
I would rather represent the villain because it's lower stakes. So what he's essentially saying there is, if I lose, it's kind of okay because they were the bad guy anyway, and they probably deserved it. Interesting view, quite a mercenary view, quite a cynical view. But then I guess, judging by the footage, which obviously you guys have seen as well as I, it looks like he's been practicing for a while. So I get that. I get it, because we do get cynical. You know, I am cynical, undoubtedly, to some degree as a result of the time that I've spent in the courtrooms. But when we're given the choice, and we are given the choice, we will represent the person who deserves to be supported, who deserves to be looked after, who deserves to be protected in terms of this process.